Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you a 3-fund 10% yield monthly pay portfolio, and I designed this with a retiree or widower in mind. Now, and I also designed it with someone like me in mind that is trying to retire on, a little bit of income or a little bit of a portfolio size than what, typical finance people will tell you that you would need. And what sparked this is a comment I got. A lot of times us YouTube people, we look at the analytics and the people that comment and look at their age and trying to see if there's a audience that you can target, and I found that I'm like, because I know some of the people that watch my videos, and then there's some new people, and it is across the board everywhere. There's young folks just getting started. There's people like me that never really got started until recently. There's older folks that are worried about their future. So it's all income levels, all ages, and everything else. So I thought it'd be neat to try to maybe get some sample portfolios for different scenarios. And what sparked this is a comment from a gentleman who's a little bit worried because life happened. You raise kids, you get married, you buy a home, you put kids through college, you might have medical expenses and issues. Life happens. And sometimes you look back, or you get to a point in time in life, and you go, holy crap, where did all the time go? Life happens, and you look up, and when I say that there's life after, there's always life after. And a lot of times we're not prepared for that. Like, for instance, I personally, me and my wife, we lived life. We raised our kids, and we didn't prepare for life after, because there's life after kids. There's life after college. There's life after marriage. And I don't mean divorce. I mean, more than likely, if you're married, one of you is going to die first. And so it really struck me a little bit, and I had to think, because a lot of times in a married situation that one has the interest or the responsibility of investing and planning the retirement, and the other one doesn't really have the interest or the desire to learn about it. And that's okay. But you have to plan for one of you not being there in the future. And so, like, for instance, me and my wife could care less about the stock market and investing. She doesn't understand it, and that's okay. She has a lot on her plate that she does. I enjoy it, and I handle all of the financial future, right? But what if I were to leave this earth before her? A lot of you know that our goal is to get to $250,000 and live on that, retire at age 55 and live on that forever. And I'm going to do that with covered calls and all that good stuff that you'll see in another video. I got one coming up in a couple weeks, actually. But when I have a portfolio of 20, 30 stocks, my wife's not going to be able to handle that. And I don't expect her to. So what does the portfolio look like after if I were to be gone? And I put together a portfolio that I'm going to share with you that is designed for a low or a smaller portfolio for a retiree based strictly on collecting a monthly income. So this yields 10% roughly, pays monthly, and it only consists of 3 funds, and it is fairly diversified. And we'll just go through it here real quick. And, a lot of you will probably guess the first one because it is QYLD. Now, QYLD writes covered calls against the NASDAQ. They do own the NASDAQ stocks, and they sell call options, monthly call options, and collect the premium and pay out the premium as a distribution to you monthly. Now, the distribution does vary, so that kind of I almost didn't put this in there because of the variedness of the distribution, but I figured you can work that out eventually if you're living off this on income. As you can see, the payouts kind of jump up and down throughout the months, and you'll get a different size check every month. So that is QYLD. It has an expense ratio of 0.60, yields currently 11.25%. The next one is a bond closed-end fund from PIMCO. Now, PIMCO is one of the best income fund managers around. Now, this will have a very high expense ratio of 2.92%, but that also includes, they use leverage to manage this fund and to grow the investments and support the distribution. Now, from a company like PIMCO, I'm comfortable with that because they've been doing this for years. There's quite a number of PIMCO funds that could fit here, but as of right now, this is the one I'm kind of most comfortable with because this is the most fairly valued at the moment. And this is one that has gone through the 2008 crash and recession without cutting its dividend or its distribution. It pays monthly, and it has a yield of 9.82%. And if we look at the dividends, now Seeking Alpha says it has a 5-year growth rate of negative 8.29%, which is actually not true. If you look at the dividend history, you'll see they see this little blip right there, and I think they kind of add that in as a decrease, but this was actually a special dividend that they paid 2 times in 1 month. So it looks like it dipped, but it didn't. And sometimes they pay a special dividend as well. So if we go to the all chart of the dividend history, you'll see it went through the in the 2008 recession, and it did not cut its dividend. Now the share price did react. Your portfolio value would have dropped dramatically, but you would have collected your monthly dividend like clockwork throughout this whole time. So it started out 17.19 cents in 08, and it paid that. It raised it to 18.45, and it is now currently paying 19 cents a month. So you're not going to get increasing dividends, but you'll get a steady stream of dividends with PKO. And what it does is it's mostly corporate bonds. There's some treasuries and government-backed mortgage securities as well. And that's the PIMCO, ticker symbol PKO. And the last one is another closed-end fund, another closed-end income fund, and it's from Cohen and Steers, and it's one of my favorites. I'm actually invested in this one. I'm also long Qyld, by the way, but I also have some shares in UTF, and this is the infrastructure fund. And if you look at the max chart, it as well got killed in 2008. But if we go to dividends, we'll see it actually has a positive growth rate. We'll go to the dividend history and we'll go to all. Now here you'll see that it looks like it cut its dividend, but it actually didn't. For a little while there after it actually raised its dividend through the 08 crash, but it was paying a quarterly dividend. And then in 2016, it decided to go to monthly. So even though it looks like it was a cut, it really wasn't. So it started paying 13 cents in 2017, went to 15.5 in 2018, and that's where we're at today. So you'll see here you have a possibility of possibly getting some growing dividends, but definitely it's through the recession, it survived and maintained their distribution, which is great news for an income portfolio. So, if we hit, my hope for my wife is that I live till one of us lives till at least 62, so that we can collect Social Security, at least one of us, and live off the dividends of this portfolio. So what kind of income can you get from this? Well, I plug this into a Google spreadsheet, and you'll see the allocations here. Qyld, I put about 60% of the $250,000 that I'm hoping that we have, which is our goal. 60% in Qyld, which is about 7,200 shares, and that would be about $150,000 in that fund, and it would pay about almost $17,000 in annual income. And then UTF, I didn't even go over what UTF does, did I? Let's go back. Holdings, UTF, 40% in utilities. There's a reason why I picked UTF. And this is one of the big reasons why, is it's big out, the big portfolio weight to utilities, and the stability that utilities bring. You can see their top 10 holdings: NextEra Energy, Crown Castle, American Tower, Duke Energy, Kinder Morgan, American Water. So big fan of UTF, and the UTF fund has actually outperformed the S&P 500 with dividends investing since this was started back in 2005, I want to say. So back to the portfolio, we have UTF, earmarking about 20% into that, which is 2,252 shares. It pays 8.45% dividend yield, and you'll get about $4,200 a year out of UTF. And the PKO bond portfolio, I'm doing about another 20% there, about 2,400 shares. It yields 10.65, and you'll get about $5,472 a year out of that, for a grand total of $26,652.72, the monthly average of $2,221.06. Now you add a really small, if you were to collect your Social Security at 62 years old, you'd probably get, I'm just making up a number, but $1,200 maybe. That's 32, that's $3,400 a month, roughly. Qyld, of course, pays, kind of varied distribution, but anywhere from $3,000 to $3,400 a month off of this portfolio. And if I were to leave the earth, before my wife, this is what something that I think could sustain her, and she wouldn't have to worry too much about finances. I would hope that this can be put into an account, sell all the single stocks that we own, dump it all into a portfolio just like this, and have the distributions paid out in cash and direct deposited into her bank account, where her Social Security check is also deposited, and she can live her life on, and enjoy herself, because she deserves it. So I know this was long-winded, but that's really touched me. Some of the comments that have been shared on some of my videos, and I wanted to put together a portfolio that could possibly fit somebody that started late, such as myself, such as my wife, and can produce a sizable income. $2,221 a month off this portfolio is not chump change. It's not. We can almost live on that. Almost. You add Social Security in that. If you add both of our Social Security's checks into this portfolio right here, we're living large. Seriously. We're living large, because we can live frugally. So if you like this video, please leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. Tell me what you think. Tell me, tell me to go pound sand or whatever you'd like to do. But leave me a like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.